Hey Internet, Acid Jane here, and welcome to another episode of Rebuilding Willow Creek. So today we are building a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom, under 30,000 simoleons suburban home. If you want to download this build, it is available on the gallery. My origin ID is kaligulaYT. Yeah, I know, I still need to change it. The only time I ever think about changing it is when I'm doing a voiceover, so. But anyway, I really like how this build turned out. This is actually the first build that I'm doing in this neighborhood of Willow Creek, and it's on the second largest lot, I believe. Like all of my Rebuilding Willow Creek builds, this build was inspired by a house that exists in the town that I just moved from. Most of the houses in that town are craftsman style homes, and a lot of them are really colorful. The one that inspired this build actually was completely white, but I really liked the shape of that house. I really liked all of the parts that stuck out. I really liked that it had almost sort of like a mini castle sort of effect, if that makes any sense. I don't know if it does, but I didn't like that the exterior was all white, so I decided to change it up a little bit and just take inspiration from the shape and just do something on my own with the color palette. So fun fact, when I found this house, I found it by the way on Google Maps. I had passed this house on many occasions when I still lived on that town, but when I was looking for build inspiration, I just went on a Google Map tour and started taking screenshots. But when I came across this house on Google Maps, there was actually a van parked in front of it that looked just like the Mystery Machine, like from Scooby-Doo. So whoever lives in this house is probably a pretty fun lot, so I don't think that they would mind if I painted it in nice colors on the outside instead of leaving it just plain white. So the windows that I use on the exterior of this build, there are no windows on the interior of this build, by the way, but the windows that I use on this build, I believe are all from Get Together. I use 3 different kinds of windows. One is a short single tile window, one is a longer single tile window, and then the third is a short 2-tile window. Oh wait, I actually also use one of the bigger windows too. So there are 4 different kinds of windows. I think they're all from Get Together. But what's really great about those Get Together windows is that possibly not all, but definitely some of their color swatches match the color swatches of the windows and doors that came with seasons. I haven't changed the colors of the windows yet, but I had tested it right before I started building to make sure that that was gonna work. But eventually I'm gonna change all of the windows to the same color that season's door that's on the front of the house is right now. So before I finally arrived at the final color palette for this exterior, it ends up being, by the way, a couple different shades of blue with some cats and dogs white shingles accents. But before I finally arrived at that color palette, I did a lot of experimentation. You see me going from this green planking for a while to a bunch of different darker blue shades and purples. I was really dead set on this very earthy toned green mixed with this very warm brown for a while. I was actually pretty positive that that was what I was gonna go for. But like I said, in the end I decided to make this a classic blue suburban. I think that that was what I initially felt looked the best, but I don't know. I think because blue Suburbans are such a trope, is that the right word? They're such a common thing that people always kind of roll their eyes at when they talk about building a blue Suburban. I don't know, I guess I just wanted to avoid blue on the exterior because of that, but it did look the best in the end, so you'll see me change it here in a little bit. I don't know why I have such an inclination, and I guess why all simmers have such an inclination to make the exterior of builds blue. I don't know why that is like the most common color. I think it's the least offensive color. And I also think that there are just not a whole lot of other swatches for exteriors. I mean, there are a lot of different color swatches for wall textures, but I don't know, there aren't that many good ones for exteriors, not with a lot of good exterior textures, I mean. And also, I think that there are just more shades of blue in the build catalog than there are any other shade. There are like 4 different shades of yellow, but I don't know, like at least 2 of those are pretty offensive to the eye. and there's pretty much only one shade of red that would work on an exterior, but it's like a fire engine red. There are no other shades of red to use for exteriors, and so I guess that's why you don't see a lot of red homes in The Sims 4. There are a couple of orange shades too, but again, like the yellows, some of them are just kind of offensive to the eye, so I guess that's why Simmers, myself included, tend to build a lot of blue Suburbans. So you can see now that I'm starting to work on the roof trim, and the more that I started playing around with it, the more I felt like the color of the roof trim really needed to match the color of the windows and that door out front. But when I put that roof trim there, it just seemed like the exterior color wasn't looking right. So that's when I thought, well, maybe I'll go with a mixing of warm tones, a mixing of very earthy tones, but then I felt like that was just kind of too dark and that it was too much for such a large house, and that I just needed to brighten things up a bit. So you can see that I'm trying to go with a few lighter colors, then I'm starting to change up the color palette to more cool tones. I finally find this beautiful sky blue, and as soon as I put that on the exterior, I knew that that was right, and I knew that that's what I wanted to go for in the end. I also end up changing the roof texture to something that's almost orange, actually, so it helps bring a lot of warmth into this build. I think I do that actually and then come back to the exterior color palette of the build a little bit, and that's when I finally find something that I like and decide to stick with. So I've said everything there is to say about the exterior of this build. We'll move on to the interior here in just a minute, but before we do, let's just have a chat, shall we? Not about anything in particular, just I want to know how you're doing. I want to know also what you think about the recent announcement that the Sims team gave us yesterday. So yesterday for me was Tuesday, which was the day that the sneaky sim guru slyly announced the terrain tools that we're about to get. I don't know if I'm ready for terrain tools, to be honest. Like, I'm so happy that we're finally gonna get them, and I cannot wait to get my hands on them and to start experimenting with them, and it's gonna be so much fun. It's gonna be so great, but honestly, like, I'm still trying to master roofs and landscaping and stuff like that. I just don't know if I'm ready for the terrain tools. I'm ready for them to be here, but I don't know if I'm ready to master them yet. It's just, I feel overwhelmed. I felt really overwhelmed when we got seasons too. I was just so excited by all of the new content that I actually kind of got stuck for a while and didn't know what to build or what to do in the game. There was too much for me to think about, and so I just kind of got stuck for a while, like I said. But I'm so excited about terrain tools. I actually did not play The Sims 3, so I am very, very new to terrain tools. I think that they existed in The Sims 1. Did they? I think they did after a while. I'm not positive about that. I know that I played around with terrain tools in The Sims at some point. I played a lot of The Sims 1, some of The Sims 2, none of The Sims 3, and then, of course, a lot of The Sims 4. So I remember there being terrain tools somewhere in there, but I can't exactly remember where. But I'm so excited. I have no idea what I'm gonna build. I told my boyfriend that that we were about to get terrain tools in The Sims, and he told me that the first thing I should build is a shit pit, like a pit with a toilet at the bottom, so I might do that just to humor him, but after that I don't know what I'm gonna build. So many wonderful things. I really, 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 really hope that with terrain tools we're gonna be able to build split level houses. If so, I know exactly what house I'm going to build next. It's from American Horror Story, that's all I'm gonna say right now, but there is a split level house somewhere in the seasons of American Horror Story that I've been dying to build, but I knew I couldn't build it if I couldn't actually build a split level house, and I just didn't think it would look good with my skill set and the tools available before we had terrain tools. I'm rambling on, but I really hope we can build split level houses. I'm still not exactly sure if that's going to be possible, and I kind of don't want to get my hopes up, but it's too late, honestly. And I'm not sure because in the live stream footage, we saw that we could have different foundation heights, but I'm not sure if we're going to be able to build basements in terrain that has been raised, if that makes sense. So say we're able to build basements in terrain that has been raised. Are we also going to be able to extend those rooms, those basement rooms, out from the raised terrain so that they're actually on the ground level or flat level? I don't think that makes any sense at all, but hopefully you understand what I mean. Are we going to be able to build walkout basements, and are we going to be able to build split level houses? I really, 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 really hope we can. If not, terrain tools are still going to be really cool, so it's nothing to be disappointed by. But let me know what you think of the announcement of terrain tools down in the comments below. Let me know what you're going to build as soon as we get them. Anyway, moving on to the interior of this build. So even though this house is a semi-starter home, and by that I mean it's a house that your single sim could not afford with their 20,000 simoleons that they get when they're first created, but it is a house that two sims who merge households together could afford. I think when you find this build on the gallery, it costs like 28,000 simoleons, so you have that plus the cost of the lot to work with. And even though this is a semi-starter home, it's actually furnished pretty well. The furnishing is still pretty sparse, but the kitchen is completely full with all of these cabinets that you see here. There's a dining area, a living area. I can't remember if the living room has a TV though. It may not have a TV. All of the bedrooms are furnished. There's not much in them, but there is at least a bed in each one of them. Actually, there are 2 bedrooms with double beds, 1 bedroom with a single bed that could suit a kid or a teenager, and another room that is suitable for a toddler. So that room includes a toddler's bed, as well as a toy chest and a couple of other toddler things, I believe. Also, all of the bathrooms in this house have at least a toilet in them. I know that 2 of the bathrooms at least have a toilet and a tub and a sink. I think the 2 other bathrooms, however, only have a toilet and a sink because I ran out of money. So I figured that wouldn't be much of a problem because, I don't know, you could have Sims move in here and then as they start to earn more money, they could start redoing rooms little by little. So when they have enough money to redo the bathrooms and to make them look not only better, but also fully furnished, then they'll spend the money on that. Most of the furniture is pretty basic. I tried to avoid any furniture that would make your Sims have negative moodlets, so I'm pretty sure that all of the beds are maybe not, well, they're definitely not the highest quality, but they're at least not the lowest quality, so I don't think that your Sims will wake up with aching backs or anything like that. I splurged on these cabinets here. I could have gone with the cheapest cabinets, but honestly, I don't know. I think all but 1 or 2 of the swatches on those cabinets are just absolutely hideous, and I couldn't bear to put so many of those hideous cabinets in this room. So I went with these cabinets from, I believe they're from Parenthood, the Parenthood pack. I tried to make most of the interior color palette pretty muted, but I did bring in a few pops of yellow here and there. You can see me putting in some teal curtains, which I think look really nice, but I'm pretty sure I get rid of those teal curtains later because I wasn't able to afford them. I definitely overused this cats and dogs flooring. I'm totally guilty of that, but I love it because it's cheap, first of all. It's a nice wood, secondly. It has a pretty visual texture, thirdly, like a pretty visible one, I mean. And also it's just, I don't know, warm and cool at the same time, so it's nice and cheery and goes with a lot of different color palettes. I don't know, I just like the floor a lot. I'm sorry I overuse it. Sorry, not sorry. I've also started to overuse this wall texture that you see here, this one with the baseboard and what do you call the top? The molding, that's what it is. And it's weird because I never used this wall texture on interiors before. I think just because, I don't know, I like to use wallpaper sometimes and it just drives me up the wall when the baseboard and molding in one room don't match the baseboard and molding in another room. So I just tend to avoid it altogether. But I really like this baseboard and molding. I keep using it again and again and again. So you can see that I'm also trying to figure out what beds I want in the bedroom so I could figure out what color I want on the walls. I end up going for a bright blue and orange theme in the 2 kids' bedrooms. So I end up choosing a really dark blue for the wall color of the kids' bedroom and a lighter teal for the wall color of the toddler's bedroom. And I did that because of the swatches of the bed sheets that I ended up going with. You can see that I'm trying to add in a few toddler things, but I'm also still trying to be conscious of the budget. I think I have to get rid of that toy box later on because it was so much more expensive than the other toy box. I really love that little school bus toy box though. I think because I actually had a toy box that was in the shape of a school bus when I was little. So maybe that's why I like it so much. But it's also just so cute and colorful. But I end up getting rid of it in the end and replacing it, I think, with the orange monster toy box. Oh, looks like I'm hopping around from place to place. Yeah, because I was being conscious of the budget, I tended to move from one bedroom to the next pretty quickly and keep returning to them to see what items I could fit in given the remainder of my budget. The bedroom downstairs would work really well as a guest room because it also has an attached bathroom. It's a very small bedroom though, which is why I don't think it should really be called the master. Oh yeah, I forgot that I used those cute little, are they octagons? Hexagon shelves in the kids' bedroom. But I think that they look really cute and I think that they match the sheets nicely and tie in the dark color on the wall to the rest of the room. So you can see that I've also put in a little drawing table in that room just so that there's a kids activity. So I wanted to make sure that the toddler had something to do if you moved a toddler in here, and that the kid had something kiddie to do if you moved a kid in here. I didn't want your Sims to have to earn money before, the toddlers and kids could be entertained. So I made sure to include a few things. It's not very much, of course, and you'll definitely want to add on to all of the toddler stuff and the kids stuff that's in those rooms, but it's at least a start. You could also see that I'm working on the bathrooms. The bathrooms are pretty simple. I could have had more room in my budget if I had not gone with that tub and shower combo that came with the Parenthood pack, but I really thought that shower curtain suited the vibe of this build, so I really wanted to go with that. You can see that I end up going with these bright blue tiles. I think I just end up going with, a plain tone for the bathrooms upstairs, and then a sort of like bluish, purplish gray tone in the bathrooms downstairs. I like that I actually mixed it up for once with the bathroom. So 2 of the bathrooms are decorated in exactly the same way, and the other 2 are decorated in exactly the same way, but at least the 4 bathrooms are not all looking exactly the same. So moving on now to the exterior. So I didn't have much of a budget left, but I did have enough money for a cute little swing set, as well as some landscaping. And with the landscaping, once I start doing that and start doing some terrain painting, I pretty much call this build done. So we're coming up here on the screenshots in just a second. I really hope that you enjoyed this build. I love it personally, and so I really hope that you do too. Like I said, it's available on the gallery if you want to download it. Let me know what you think of this build in the comments below. Let me know what else you think I should build in Willow Creek. I desperately need some suggestions for community lots, which I haven't even begun to tackle yet. So please let me know what you think I should build for the community lots in Willow Creek. Anyway, like I said, I really hope that you enjoyed this build and enjoyed watching this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please know how much I appreciate your support, and I will talk to you in another video very soon. Goodbye!